Joseph, what information have we gleaned from your combat test?
Let's see. NihilisticNerd. His skills include weapon materialization and retard strength. He dispatched several low-level soldiers as well as a clone of myself.
Seems like this kid could be trouble.
True. However, he has a short attention span and is incredibly rash. This man-child is the textbook definition of sped.
So we could use this to our advantage?
Precisely. We did some snooping and found out this loser has a thing for big titty robots.
And how exactly is that information going to help us?
We have intercepted a Noxtech robot he recently acquired. Our technicians are reprogramming it to go into kill mode after 1 week of activation.
It's time we avenge my nephew. I want his little pecker on a silver platter.
Literally or figuratively.
Your choice.
Well then, you best get in contact with a taxidermist who specializes in sausage.
What?
You know, so you can mount it in your office and stuff.
I am not mounting a penis in my office, Joe.
I know, I'm just saying.
No, it's just weird.
What do you want?
Hello, sir. I'm Postman Catnip, and I'm here to deliver your Goth Mommy Bot 4000? Are your pants on backwards?
Yes. Thanks for reminding me. Anyway, you want to watch me play Gravity Circuit?
Yes, lowered, nerd.
Thanks. Bye.
But I want to watch!
Over the last month, I've been horribly addicted to a little gem called Gravity Circuit. Gravity Circuit is a 2D action platformer made by Domesticated Ant Games, who also made Gravity Circuit. Yeah, I'm reviewing another debut title. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose, but what a debut title this game is. At the time of recording this review, Gravity Circuit sits at an overwhelmingly positive 96% rating on Steam. So, my beanie goes off to the devs that put the effort into making this game. Well, enough about that, let's get into the actual review. Gravity Circuit begins with a cutscene showing the discovery of the Ark, a mysterious metallic fortress that was uncovered during a routine excavation. Shortly after this breakthrough discovery, an army of evil robots known simply as the Virus Army begins an assault on the city and its robots. Since the local robots don't have the right to bear arms, they were unable to defend themselves. Instead, they solely rely on the righteous and incorruptible Guardian Corps. This corps consists of 9 robot guardians, known as the Circuits. The Guardians semi-successfully fight off the invaders, at the cost of 8 of the 9 Guardians as well as the tri-state area. Gravity Circuit was the only circuit found afterward. Unfortunately, despite a valiant effort by the medical crew, they could not find the on-off switch. Thus, Gravity Circuit remains dormant to this day. Years later, the Virus Army begins their second assault. This is where control transitions to the player character as Kai, the Gravity Circuit, arrives on the scene. Welcome to the intro stage, which, by the way, isn't the tutorial. If you wanted to do that, you should have clicked that option in the menu, stupid. That said, the intro level would by all means be considered a tutorial level by classic gaming standards, introducing problems and how to overcome them at a rapid but doable pace. This is the player's introduction to the gameplay loop, a term that, over the last few years, has left a sour taste in many a gamer's mouth. And that's because a lot of games create repetitive gameplay loops that are noticeable and boring. Gravity Circuit does indeed have a gameplay loop, and quite a simple one at that. But we'll discuss that and more in further detail later. Right now, I want to talk about the aesthetic of this game. I've reviewed a lot of pixel art games in this series. Whether it's a mix of 2D sprites in a 3D world, like Anno Mutationum, the artistic and heavily filtered Narita Boy, or the more traditional games like Infernex, Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, and Astalon, Tears of the Earth. Gravity Circuit would fall into the latter 3. It could quite possibly be the most expressive of these 4 games. For example, let's take a look at my favorite NPC in the game, the nurse. Don't ask why. How many colors do you think are used to make up the nurse? The answer is 5, yet the artist manages to convey so much emotion and expressiveness in 5 colors. And that's just the sprite actions. Don't get me started on the profile images. Not only are there tons of expressive sprite animations, many NPCs have multiple profile images to further enhance their personality. I could go on gushing about how impressive the sprite work in this game is, but that would take up the rest of this video. So let's move on to backgrounds. The backgrounds for this game are intricately designed. Each of them feels wholly unique to the others. The themes, the color schemes, the objects within them, these are all so well crafted. Even the music is solid. Each level has its own track that corresponds with the previously mentioned themes. The music itself doesn't necessarily feel like it's designed around the SNES's limitation, rather to me it feels like this weird missing link between the SNES, the Sega Genesis, and the PlayStation 1. Basically, I'm saying this sounds like a video game, but it doesn't sound like a dated interpretation of video games.
Welcome home, honey. How was your shift at the dick flattening factory?
Later that very same day.
I can service you if you'd like.
What the fuck does that even mean? No, just turn on the AC.
Activating posterior airflow apparatus.
Oh, stop! Stop!
Later yet again.
Ugh. Ugh. Mommy Maidbot, can you come in here?
Yes, lowered.
This sandwich is drier than my ex's crotch after trying to pleasure her for 45 minutes. Let me show you how to dress a sandwich. This is how you add your lubricants to your sandwiches. fuck's sake. See what you do to me? That's what you do. I'm not hungry anymore.
Solid graphics, good soundtrack, but how about the gameplay? Well, I'm happy to say that Gravity Circuit's gameplay is easily one of the best platformers I've played recently. Players will have the normal movement options that are to be expected in this kind of game, running left and right and jumping, as well as combat capabilities. Kai can use a simple melee combo to dispatch most enemies. If this was all, it would be a pretty mediocre platformer, but I've neglected to mention the hook. Bro, this weapon single-handedly takes the gameplay up 12 whole notches, as not only is it utilized for movement, it's also integral to combat. The hook allows Kai to swing around the stage a la Bionic Commando, creating a host of new platforming options. In combat, the hook serves as a multifaceted tool. It can deal ranged damage as well as, more importantly, grab weak or downed enemies, which can then be tossed across the screen to deliver deadly blows to other enemies. Mastery of the hook is crucial to effectively dispatching enemies. While Kai's default abilities are pretty solid, they can be expanded upon further through the use of booster chips as well as burst techniques. Booster chips are generally passive buffs that do a variety of things, like reduce damage from falls, hook extension, increase energy gain, extended penis size, and so on. Players unlock chips by rescuing random robot civilians that are littered throughout each stage. After doing all that junk, the player has to simply talk to the sexy nurse bot to choose which chip they want. Players can install a total of 3 booster chips onto Kai at one time. Burst techniques, on the other hand, are unlocked by beating the scrap out of stage bosses. Instead of simply unlocking a new ability like in Megaman, a game that this is clearly inspired by, Gravity Circuit allows players to buy 1 or 2 abilities from a vendor. These aren't just random abilities, by the way. All of these are somehow related to the boss the player just sent to the junkyard. The player can add up to 4 burst techniques onto Kai at one time. These are activated via directional input. Players won't be able to abuse burst techniques too frequently, as they will need to gain burst energy by eliminating enemies. Before we wrap up this section, I should mention that once a booster chip or booster technique is purchased, you can swap them at any time. I really wish I would have remembered this during my first playthrough. Why is that? Well, allow us to segue into the level design. All of the levels in this game are platforming genius. As I stated before, each stage is unique in aesthetic, and this holds true for gameplay as well. Each level feels distinct. The obstacles and how one solves them always feels fresh. For instance, the convoy stage features a few segments where the player must dodge incoming missiles whilst surfing on a hoverboard. It's definitely not easy by any means, and I struggled with this one. That is, until I just started punching the missiles like a Chad. Another example is the power plant, which in my opinion is one of the harder levels when it comes to platforming. In this level, players must execute several skillful jumps and swings, all whilst trying to avoid death lasers. As mentioned before, each level has robo-civilians that can be rescued for booster chips, as well as max health boosts and burst energy upgrades. My first playthrough was on a normal difficulty, and there were plenty of instances where I failed in combat and platforming solely due to lack of skill. A smarter player would have simply switched Kai's loadout to alleviate the skill issue. Switching a booster chip that reduces obstacle damage or a burst technique that temporarily spawns a platform. The options are there, provided the player hits the minimum intelligence quota. I did not. Every stage ends with a boss fight. Each boss has a unique moveset, 2 phases, and 1 ultimate attack that will polish the player's ass if they're not careful. There is one flaw with all of the bosses, and that flaw is called Catch Interrupt. Catch Interrupt is a burst technique. Its capabilities are middling in pretty much every other situation, but in a boss fight, it's preem. That's because Catch Interrupt is a close-range counter ability that also happens to nullify all immediate damage and launches the enemy into a completely helpless state. In this state, the player can deal even more damage. It makes bosses that could be considerably tough laughably easy. There are other abilities that do similar things, but Catch Interrupt is easily my favorite. Remember how I mentioned there was a gameplay loop? Well, in case it wasn't obvious enough, the loop is as follows. Play level, beat stage boss, upgrade Kai, rinse and repeat. It doesn't feel egregious because each level and boss is so different to the one before it. Gameplay loops aren't inherently bad, they just need to be done competently. In fact, they've been done competently since the beginning of gaming in general. So Gravity Circuit, it's good stuff, bro. I haven't even mentioned the end game, and I kinda don't want to because it gets into the spoilery areas. But I will say that it's a lot longer than I thought it would be, and the one nitpick I have with it is one of the bosses is just a glorified boss rush, which is kind of funny when you think about it, as that was the only thing in the game I didn't actually enjoy. I would highly suggest this game to anyone that likes 2D action platformers. The caveat being that the game is harder than it looks, so if you're looking for an easy game, you won't find it here. It took me about 5 hours to complete my normal playthrough, and I'm sitting at 4 hours in my hard playthrough that I have yet to complete. I played Gravity Circuit on the PC, however, it's available on the PS4, PS5, and Nintendo Switch. The console versions cost more for some reason, so I would advise buying it on Steam if possible.
Yeah, so that's like the 3rd razor blade I found in my cereal this week, which is crazy because that's like twice as much as I usually have. No, I don't think so. I think that the factory, they just keep putting that shit in there to fuck with me. That's impossible. Have you ever heard of Isaac Asimov's 3 rules of robotics? Here, I'll prove it to you. Mommy Maid bot, can you come in here, please? Mommy Maid bot, are you trying to kill me?
Yes.
Hold on, I'll call you back. Have you not heard of Isaac Asimov's 3 rules of robotics?
A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given to it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. A robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. That's gay, and I hate you. Though I will kill you.
Oh shit!
Shit, I'm gonna have to go Super Saiyan.
I need help, man.
What's up, you fucking piece of shit? For putting your pants on correctly for the first time in 3 weeks, I bestow upon you this bet.
Oh, cool.
What the fuck is that?
Oh my, who's a big boy? You are. Ooh.
Boop. Last but not least, nerd, I got you this jacket, because you look like a homeless guy. Should suit you.
My therapist is gonna hear about this.
Yeah, you will. Also, I put your jacket on for you.
Bye!
Stop right there, wench. Those were my cornflakes!
Why does everything I love try to kill me?
Nerd! Somebody's tampered with the robot's code. It's programmed to kill you in 3 days.
Really? You left the door unlocked?